Let's talk about what we know so far in this case with National Trial Attorney Mike Jaafar, and he's in Michigan, and in Hawaii, homicide detectives extraordinary, Mr. Phil Waters. Michael, what's your take here? You have the situation where she calls police. She is concerned about her safety. That's why she calls multiple times, even as her kids call. And the responding officers say, all right, you go back in there. We can't do anything here. You people need to work it out. And she says, well, what if I shoot him in self-defense? It's in her mind already a scenario that she thinks might happen. And sure enough, he's dead a few minutes later. And she's claiming self-defense. How important is it for the state that she brought up self-defense before even going in there and shooting him?
This is the type of fact pattern that they would test you out in law school. They'd call it right down the middle, and it could go either way on the exam. When you submit your exam to your law school professor, whether you say she's guilty or whether you say she's innocent, you're right, depending on the merits of your arguments and how you explain the case. That's a tough one. In my opinion, these fact patterns usually cleave towards her being acquitted because the burden of proof is very high for the prosecution. If you're a juror and you say, hey, she committed murder, you can justify that decision, because telling the police officers he's going to kill me and then walking out to your car, grabbing weapons, when you could easily just have left the house. He's not your husband. You know, you could leave the house.
She's got kids in the house. She's got a little.
Yeah, it's not exactly the easiest situation, but if you're convincing yourself that she committed murder, you could say she could have cooled off, she could have left. Her life was not an imminent threat. She was upset, but her life was not an imminent threat at that point. So that's why going out to the car and coming back in and then he dies is a big deal, because it's not that she came back in and then they had an altercation and then she shot him. She brought the weapons from her car that she used to kill him. So you could easily justify that she committed murder. Obviously, we have to see the balance of evidence that comes out in the trial, and when her testimony is going to be a big deal, she needs to testify now. But in my opinion, this one goes right down the middle.